What's up, everybody? You're watching Model AV8R. I'm Adam, and we got a fun flight for you this week. Our buddy Scott Elmore let us borrow his brand spanking new E-flite Carbon Z T-28 2-meter. This thing is huge, it's gorgeous, it flies so good. It epitomizes the advantages and disadvantages of giant scale aircraft. The disadvantages, it's more than your average foamy, no doubt about that. But it's also more. There's just a lot more of it. It is a very, very large airplane, and when you compare the cost of that to the cost of a warbird ARF, the same size, and everything it takes to outfit that, the retracts, good enough servos, motor, ESC, all that stuff, you're going to end up with an airplane that is balsa that costs at least twice what this costs and weighs probably 20 pounds. This thing comes in at a little less than 13 with this big fat 7,000 pack that we used to fly it. So that's pretty good. The other disadvantage to large airplanes is they are harder to store. It takes a lot more room in your hangar. They're harder to transport, and you have to be careful with them. If you are not careful, they're just big. They're easy to bang into things and not realize you're about to do it, and you can have that thing riddled with hangar rash in no time if you're not careful. But the upside is, if you just pay attention to what you're doing and take your time, you can keep it looking good for a long time. Just don't bang it into stuff. It's not that hard. The huge advantage is how they fly. Giant scale airplanes just fly better, and a warbird that size flies great. It is a completely different experience if it weighs 20 pounds. When it weighs around 13, it's a completely different experience altogether. It is so light on the wing loading is so low for such a big airplane, it just looks majestic, if that's the right word, going through the air. Things happen slower. They look more realistic. The movements, everything about flying this airplane just looks more scale, if you will, than a much smaller airplane, and flying scale is a lot easier with a large airplane. Now, obviously, it's capable of things that aren't so scale, and we show you a little bit of all of that in the almost 12-minute flight. That's the other advantage to these big airplanes. With this 7,000 pack, I had the timer set to 11 minutes, and I had some battery left over when I landed, so you get gasser flight times. And for those electric folks out there that don't know what I'm talking about, routinely with large giant scale gasser planes that have like DAs and DLEs in them with a large tank, 10 to 12 to 15 minute flights are pretty common. You don't see that with electrics very often, especially not electrics that you're on the throttle a bit having a good time with. I was, and I think this flight's almost 12 minutes, so it is really an awesome airplane. Check this out. If you want to get into something giant scale and you're looking for a warbird, this is about the easiest to fly T-28 out there. It is amazing. It is big, but it's not intimidating to fly at all. It's easy to stay ahead of. It's just a great airplane. So check this out, and if you're interested in one, we will put a link in the description where you can go straight to it. We'll have our normal affiliate link there as well, so if you need anything from Horizon Hobby, when you go through that, it helps support our channel, and Heidi and I appreciate it when you do. Plus, it lets Horizon know that you like what we're doing, and we appreciate when you do that as well. So enjoy this flight, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next week with something else cool with wings. Won't be this big, but it'll be cool. Check it out. We had a bit of wind this morning. It was blowing constant 3 or 4 miles an hour with gusts between 6 to 8 miles an hour. It was pretty much a non-event. Some of that is that AS3X works great, but a large part of it is that this thing is just big. There's plenty of power on tap for large-scale warbird maneuvers. I'm sure at least some of you, if not all of you, have heard the saying, bigger flies better. It does. If you ever get the opportunity to try a giant scale plane, jump at the chance. You'll be glad you did. I prefer flying planes like this more scale, but there's plenty of power for non-scale shenanigans if that's what you want to do with it.
You gotta be moving when you do it, but it will sustain the knife edge as far as you want to fly one. For what it is and how big it is, the T-28 has a pretty light wing loading, and it shows in the fact that the slow speed handling is really solid with no bad habits. The wind keeps changing directions on me. It's a quartering crosswind, so I keep changing my mind which direction I want to come in from. I'm going to make a little mistake on the go around here because the wind changes directions again on my final approach. Right there, bobbled the flare, and I was late getting on the power. If you make that same mistake with a 20-pound warbird, you need a new 20-pound warbird.